Hi there, Because I'm Carlos, episode number 25. Now, first of all, I do want to apologize because normally, even though I didn't set any specific cadence, I didn't say, oh, I'm going to do this kind of audio version of the podcast weekly or monthly or whatever. I've tried for the most part to kind of keep it to at least once a month. And I realized I was looking at it the other day and I go, it's been a while since I've done an audio version. I've done a bunch of videos that probably could have qualified, but they didn't end up being audio only. I realized it had been over a month since the last one, so my apologies on that. I will try to be a little bit better about being more consistent on it, especially over the next month or two as we're heading into the Toronto Expo. So I think I may have a couple of things to say about that and preparing for a card show that way. It's been a little while since I've done one of those pieces of content. But what I wanted to talk about on this one a little bit is kind of where we're sitting at currently. And also specifically, I wanted to talk about kind of the areas in which I have kept the hobby, you know, interesting and entertaining kind of for myself. And one element of it is that I'll kind of talk about a little bit has been the content side because really this is one of my favorite parts of it. Obviously, chasing after sets, working on them, chipping away at the checklist and all that. That's always incredibly enjoyable. It's gratifying when I'm completing a project, of course, and that's always something that is a great part of the collecting experience. But a big part of it for me really is both seeing, analyzing, and creating content, and that's always been kind of a fun element to it. Once I started doing it, it added an extra layer of the hobby to me. And that's been kind of a fun thing that I enjoy doing, whether that is posting stuff on Instagram, doing stuff on the YouTube channel, or creating a piece of content like this that is on the YouTube channel. The links are always in the description for it, but also, an audio version, basically, just to provide that multiple options. I know some people do listen to it in the audio version, so I want to make sure I at least, try to take care of those folks as well. But specifically, what kind of led me down the path is I kind of have been enjoying watching and observing what happens as the waves go of content go through in the hobby. And obviously, we're kind of in a downslope on a lot of it, and mostly it's because obviously as economic factors have shifted over, people have less disposable income for the most part. They're more concerned about where things are going to go. So as a result, sports cards and hobbies and things like that take a bit of a backseat, which is completely fine. And I did a video on the YouTube channel a little while ago where I kind of said it's okay to sit on the sidelines. And I stand by that because I think right now that this should not be a priority for you. This should be something that should be a distraction. It should be something that should be enjoyable. It should be something that you do with disposable income. And if right now, if you don't have disposable income, then it's something you should definitely step away from. And it's honestly a great opportunity to kind of, again, I mentioned it before, but enjoy what you already have. Take advantage of that. And I did that very thing on my own YouTube channel this week where I had been planning a couple of different things that I wanted to do, and one of them that I wanted to do a little bit more here and there was to do a little bit more showcase videos about stuff that is already in the collection. So I did a showcase for the 1954 Bowman baseball set that I had completed. It had been a little while, so I wanted to make a video on it. So I did that, I think last week or the week before. And then this week, I actually put together a video where I went through my box of wrestling cards. And it was a collection that I've been building, and I've actually got some more stuff that's going to be coming in, but not so much stuff that it warranted waiting a little bit longer. I was able to show off the majority of the collection and kind of interact with some folks about that. I do know a couple folks that are in the wrestling card side of things that collect that, so I thought they would enjoy that, and it was fun for me to put together and remind myself kind of what I had as well. So from that perspective, it gave me an opportunity to get some extra enjoyment out of it. And by making a video, I was then able to share that, and then other people could see it as well, and some of them enjoyed seeing that from that perspective. So I felt like it gave us all something, which is always kind of a great thing from my opinion. But more than anything else, I have still continued to enjoy the process. I've enjoyed the interaction with folks as I kind of do some of this stuff and we message back and forth and talk about it. And I've had a bunch of folks that I get to interact with that I would not have been able to otherwise. That's why this next expo is going to be great fun for me because a lot of the folks that I know by doing this are going to be there. So we're going to be able to talk. We're going to be able to chat and hang out a little bit. And that's going to be fun. So like I said, more than anything, at this point in time, even with all this other stuff going on, I still find a great amount of enjoyment in the hobby. I still find these lanes and angles in which I can still derive some joy and some pleasure from it. And even the case where maybe I don't necessarily have as much stuff that I can find or pick up, or maybe the price is just wrong. And right now, I think that latter point about the price is right now a big element and a big key. I think this upcoming expo may be one of the ones in which I purchased the least amount of things. And more than anything else, it's a budget thing and it's also value. Right now, what I'm really looking for is I look for value. And I can tell you that that doesn't mean that I don't find anything. Like this very past weekend that I'm recording this weekend on the PWCC auctions, they do the weekly auctions that end on Sundays. I went looking around. I saw a couple of things that I was keeping an eye on. Nothing too crazy, but I ended up picking up another Brett Favre. So that's a little callback. If any of you do check out the YouTube channel, you'll know what I'm referring to. So Brett Favre cards. I found one that I thought was interesting that I liked. I'll be showcasing it on the YouTube channel. That'll be there. But it's a nice card, but it's one of those things that I'll be getting in the near future. I haven't sent for it yet. It's right now sitting in the PWCC vault, but I'll come and get it at some point. And I've got a ComC order coming in, but a lot of that stuff I bought a while back, so it's not necessarily net new purchases. And I've got some stuff coming in from Ship My Cards, but some of that stuff I bought like a month and a half ago. So my purchases have actually slowed down quite a bit. But at the same time, I feel like the quality and also the different areas of my collection that I've been working on have actually been very enjoyable. So I've still found my ways to have fun with it. But in the meantime, during this whole process, I've been making content. I've been making videos. I've been developing, different ideas with folks. I've been working on other YouTube channels. I've been working on my own personal YouTube channel with that talks a little bit more about wrestling and that kind of thing. So I have found different aspects and different avenues of this hobby and other hobbies that I have to be able to enjoy them. And by the creation of content, I've found ways to do it without necessarily costing myself more money, other than the equipment I've already paid for in a lot of cases a while ago. My point in all this is finding kind of your niche, finding your lane, finding the area, and maybe finding your lane will be where I kind of title this, because more than anything else, just talking out loud. But it's finding your lane, wherever that happens to be, that gives you that enjoyment at this time. And it could be a case of maybe right now prices are too high and it's something you stay out of. And that really played into one of the things that were recent videos that I had made on the YouTube channel that talked about both SGC and PSA dropping their grading fees for their bulk rates. And for some folks, that was great because obviously it gave me an opportunity. Anything that saves the consumer some money in this point right now is a great thing. But for some folks, it still wasn't low enough. It was a situation where they wanted to participate in it. They wanted to be able to send in some cards, but they needed the price to be very low because right now they're squeezed. We're being squeezed in a lot of different directions. And for a lot of folks, it's just about even a couple of dollars, a little bit more is the difference between being able to participate in the way they want to participate and having to sit on the sidelines, not necessarily because they want to, but because they have to. And that's completely understandable. And I did get a taste of that as I listened to the feedback and chatted back and forth with some folks. You got a taste of that. So that's kind of what we're sitting right now. That is the state we're in the fall of 2022 in the hobby. And we're going to see what the next couple of months show off for us, because even as I watch some of the vlogs and things, you can see traffic at some of the card shows starting to slow down. Even if there is foot traffic, the amount of transactions are starting to drop off. The money is slowly being pulled out of the system. In this case, a lot of it has kind of started to vanish and a lot of the stuff is sitting. And I'd expect to see more of that coming in the near future just because of practical reasons that we talked about a minute ago. And that's understandable. But that's where it becomes even more important for the collectors that actually are in this, that do want to collect for the sake of collecting, and it is something they enjoy. That's where it becomes even more important to find that lane, find that niche. For me, it's a lot of these little side categories, even though I've got some projects that I'm still working on. I'm still picking up some stuff here and there. It's not forcing yourself in to do it. Don't make it a job. Don't make it a task. Make it something that's enjoyable. And if right now isn't the right time, if this is a time where you need to sit back and reevaluate and focus on other things, then that's perfectly fine too. The hobby will still be here when you get back. And in the meantime, you can always just enjoy consuming the content that way. And that can be a way of participating in the discussions, in communication with other folks, and commiserating with other collectors. That can be your way of participating in it without necessarily throwing more money into it. So more than anything, those are just some thoughts that I had kind of on Monday evening. So this is Canadian Thanksgiving that I'm recording this on. So I wanted to chat about this a little bit and just basically have an audio version out. So my intention is to kind of put together some more thoughts and put together at least another one. I don't want to wait another month and change before I release another audio version, but I wanted to make sure I at least had something out there. So that I'm still intending to make these audio versions and hopefully more episodes to come up in the future. I hope to also do some stuff related around the expo in Toronto coming up in November. So hopefully there'll be some more stuff on the YouTube channel, as well as some stuff like this that'll be available in both avenues, depending on what makes the most sense and what is easiest for you to be able to consume. Anyway, if you are in the YouTube version of it, feel free to throw some comments in the comment section. I'm kind of curious where things are sitting with you, if we haven't already talked about it before. Where are you sitting at right now? Is it a situation where you're kind of sitting on the sidelines waiting for prices or waiting for your own situation to clear up? Or just right now you're not seeing anything that strikes your fancy that you want to move on? Or are you still participating in the hobby to different degrees? I'm still finding that I can still pick up some stuff. Like I said, the PWCC thing, I still find some stuff on ComC here and there. Even though it slows down, I still find some things here and there that still fit some of the things that I'm working on. That's me. I'm curious if you've got a similar situation or a little bit different, maybe what's going on with you. In the same vein, I'm also curious if you are slowing down or you've stopped right now, is it a situation where it's temporary, where you're mostly just concerned about other things, or is it a situation where you need some things to change before you'd be willing to kind of put your feet back in the water? Outside of that, I'd also be curious to see where your plans go over the next couple of months, because obviously as we head into the holiday season, that's a whole different thing with a lot of expenses that are going to be coming up for that too. So it could just be a case of maybe now is not the right time to be dipping your toes in this. Maybe you need to kind of sit back because obviously we got a holiday season coming, and this is going to be very interesting how this holiday season gets impacted about a lot of these things. And I think we'll definitely have more things to talk about in the coming months here into 2023. Anyway, so that's it for me for now. If you're on the YouTube version, if you could like or subscribe, it helps support the channel. Always appreciate that. Otherwise, if you're in the audio version, if you could give it a 5-star rating or whatever it is, your app of choice allows you to have it. It is accessible in Spotify and I guess other platforms. It's also on the YouTube channel, and the link to that is included in the description of this and every single other audio version of this video. Anyway, that's it for me. Thanks very much. We'll catch you in the next one.